Somebody asked the question. They said, Dr. Umar, how do you feel about South Africa taking Israel to world court for crimes against the Palestinian people? I got the question about 4 or 5 Africans from the diaspora, the African family around the planet, because the whole planet is the African kingdom, but the mother continent is the royal palace. I said the whole planet is the African kingdom. The whole planet Earth is the kingdom of Africa, but Mother Africa is the royal palace. It is the governmental executive headquarters. Let us not get twisted. The whole planet is the kingdom of Africa, but the mother continent is the royal palace. It is the executive suite. It is the mansion. That's what we must get into our heads, Pan-Africanists. That's what we must get in our heads, Pan-Africanists. But this question about South Africa taking Israel to world court for crimes against the Palestinians, I don't have a problem with that. I will never take issue with an African upholding the humanity of another branch of the human family. I will never take issue with an African upholding the humanity of another branch of the human family. But the question I got was, why did they never do that for crimes against their American African brothers and sisters? Why did they never do that for crimes against their European African brothers and sisters? Why have they never done that for European crimes against their Brazilian African brothers and sisters? Why have they never done that for crimes against their Canadian or Australian African brothers and sisters? And I have 2 answers to that. I have a much more comprehensive answer I'll give later, but the simple answer here and now from Prophet Ifatunde. The simple answer now from Awo Ifatunde is, unfortunately, there are Pan-Africanists on African soil who are only Pan-Africanists in the continental sense. When they talk of Pan-Africanism, they don't talk of us in the Western Hemisphere. When they talk of Pan-Africanism, they don't talk of us in North America, Central America, South America, or the Caribbean islands. This is a fact. There is chauvinism within the Pan-Africanist movement, although that is hypocrisy. There is tribalism and sectionalism and sectarianism in the Pan-African movement. Of course, that is a hypocrite. Of course, that is a hypocrite. Anybody claiming to be a Pan-Africanist who is only concerned about Africans on the mother continent is a hypocrite. Anyone claiming to be a Pan-Africanist and is only concerned about Africans in the Caribbean is a hypocrite. Anyone claiming to be a Pan-Africanist and is only concerned about Africans in North America or South America or Central America is a hypocrite. So yes, we have hypocrisy in the Pan-Africanist movement. Although Pan-Africanism was born in the United States. Oh yes, it was not born in Africa. And it was not born in the Caribbean. The first Pan-African meeting ever held, the Chicago Conference on Africa, was held in 1894. That is 1 year before Henry Sylvester Williams, the Trinidadian. Shout out to my Trinidad and Tobago Africans. I'm still waiting for my invitation to speak. Shout out to my Trinidad and Tobago Africans. I'm still waiting on my invitation to speak. But most people think that our great ancestor, Henry Sylvester Williams, who held his Pan-African conference in London in 1900, was the first Pan-Africanist meeting. That is incorrect. That is incorrect. The first Pan-Africanist meeting was held in Chicago, the Chicago Conference on Africa in 1894, and it was presided over by Pan-Africanist forefather, the late, great Dr. Alexander Crummell, who was W.E.B. Du Bois' mentor. W.E.B. Du Bois eulogized Dr. Alexander Crummell. This black man went to Liberia and gave 20 years of his life building Pan-Africanism on Liberian soil. And then he came back to America and built the first intellectual association for black men. So Pan-Africanism was born in the United States. That doesn't make us better, because under Pan-Africanism, we are all one under the red, black, and green flag. Under Pan-Africanism, we are all one under the red, black, and green flag. You can have your national flag, your organizational flag, your religious flag, but the red, black, and green, in that order, red, black, and green is the flag of the African race, brothers and sisters. So I'm looking, the Caribbean Pan-Africanist Conference will be in Jamaica. The Caribbean Pan-Africanist Conference will be in Jamaica. The Central American African Pan-Africanist Conference will be in Panama. The North American Pan-Africanist Conference, I have not decided, but I think it's going to be in New York. I think it's going to be in New York or possibly Philadelphia. I think it's going to be in New York or possibly Philadelphia, brothers and sisters, possibly Atlanta. It could be in Atlanta. African soil, I'm looking at Ghana. I'm looking at having the African Pan-Africanist Conference, the Continental Pan-Africanist Conference in one of the slave dungeons. On one of the slave dungeons where they stole our humanity, we will rebirth Pan-African power. Where they stole our humanity in the dungeons where our ancestors were dehumanized and massacred and enslaved, I believe that is the best place for us to have the Continental Pan-Africanist Conference. In Europe, I'm looking at Paris or London. We might take it back to Manchester, England. We're my Manchester, UK Africans. Maybe we're going to take it back to Manchester in honor of the 5th Pan-Africanist Conference of Manchester, 1945. Brothers and sisters, I got to get ready to go. Detroit wouldn't be a bad idea. Detroit wouldn't be a bad idea. Detroit, peace and Pan-Africanism to all my Detroit, Michigan Africans who came out to the Kwanzaa event. Update on FDMG. Process completed on the renovations. Process almost completed on getting the final building inspections done. We are facing resistance from reactionary forces within the city. We are facing resistance from reactionary forces within the city, but we will prevail. What time will FDMG be ready? It will be ready on divine time. What time will FDMG ready? It will be ready on ancestral time. What time will the FDMG Academy be ready? It will be ready on revolutionary time. We got this, brothers and sisters. We got this. Hit your Cash App. Paint Day is coming up. Who coming to help us paint the inside of the school? Hit your Cash App, $ FDMG School. Hit your Cash App, $ FDMG. Sawabona. Sawubona, aman la away to Mabuye, Africa, to my South African brothers and sisters. I love my South African brothers and sisters. Hit your PayPal, International African. Support the School of the Future. PayPal.me/FDMG Academy. PayPal.me/FDMG Academy. PayPal.me. As I prepare to head back to the United Snakes of America, the 50 Caucasoid Snakes of America, I want to say peace and Pan-Africanism and bid my farewells, but only for a short moment, God willing, to my Central American Africans, to my El Salvador Africans, my Belize Africans, my Honduras Africans, my Costa Rica Africans, my Mexican Africans and Colombian Africans, and of course my Panama Africans. Panama, I am still here. Republic of Panama, Central America, I am still here. Republic of Panama, Central America, I am still here, but I will be leaving you soon. Thank you to the Republic of Panama. Thank you to Elder Ras Selah. Thank you to all the brothers and sisters and elders and youth who made this Black Star Line Steamship Corporation relaunching conference a reality. We will rebirth Black Star Line. I will do whatever I can to help birth Black Star Line. His Excellency, the Prophet and King of Revolutionary Pan-Africanism, the Most Honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey, is the only Black leader, the only one to give us an international distribution network to empower the Black dollar, and we will rebirth the Black Star Line. I enjoyed myself in Portobello, visiting the location where our ancestors sold into slavery on the coast of Africa, were brought to Central America to slave for the Portuguese and slave for the Spanish. I meditated and poured some gin into the water of the Caribbean Sea to the ancestors here of Central America, our Spanish-speaking African ancestors, we cannot forget about them. Our Australian Africans, forgive me for leaving out Australia. I will see Australia this spring. I've been invited to Australia, and once the Prince of Pan-Africanism speaks in Sydney, Australia, I would have completed my continental sweep of the planet Earth, being the first scholar of the 21st century to speak on every single continent on the planet by invitation, except Antarctica, but that's Neanderthal kingdom. I'm not interested in going to Antarctica. That's Neanderthal kingdom, so we're not going to include Antarctica. But if we got Africans in Antarctica, I will come to Antarctica. If we got Africans in Antarctica, I will come to Antarctica. But until then, we're going to call that the snow bunny, snow puppy, Neanderthal humanoid kingdom, and we're going to leave Antarctica alone. But Central America, I enjoyed Portobello. I enjoyed Panama City. I enjoyed Cologne City. Listen up. There will be 5 Pan-African conferences across the world. There will be 5 Pan-African conferences in 2024. There will be a Central American Pan-Africanist conference. There will be a South American Pan-Africanist conference. There will be a North American Pan-Africanist conference for the states in Canada. There will be at least one Pan-Africanist conference on the continent of Africa. There will be at least one in Europe, brothers and sisters. Oh, yes. 5 Pan-African conferences. Oh, yes. All of you who volunteer to be secretaries for Dr. Umar, male or female, all of you who volunteer to be secretaries for Dr. Umar, male or female, no rainbow ganging is allowed. No rainbow ganging is allowed. No rainbow ganging and no bunny hopping is allowed, brothers and sisters. But for those of you who signed up to be a secretary to help me manage some of the organizing and registration for brothers and sisters who want to join the various Dr. Umar initiatives in this year across the globe, because it's all about all of us. It's about all Africans, regardless of religion, regardless of nationality, regardless of flag or language. We are one people. We will be organizing. And yes, brothers and sisters, I've made up my mind. I've made up my mind. After 5 years of not visiting Ghana for my Pan-African tours, I did 6 of them in a row, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, and 19. I am leading a group tour from the United Snakes of America back to Ghana. We will be at the Panifest celebration at the Cape Coast Castle Dungeon. Get your passports ready, brothers and sisters. Get your passports. If you've never been to Africa with Dr. Umar, you will have your chance. My Africans in Europe, you can meet us there if you want. Our Africans of Canada, you can fly down to where we'll be leaving from, which will either be New York, DC, or Newark, New Jersey, or you can meet us on the continent. This is going to be a trip for all new attendees. If you've ever attended any of my past tours, respectfully, you're not allowed to go on this one. I want all new people this time. I want all new brothers and all new sisters who've never been to Africa. You're going to spend 14 days and 14 nights with the Prince of Pan-Africanism. We're going to Ghana, and I think we're going to Kemet. We're going to go to Kemet, and so you can see the great monuments and relics of the greatest human civilization ever built. And then we're going to go to Ghana. We're talking about the last week of July and the first week of August, 2024. We're talking about the last week of July and the first week of August, 2024. Registration will be coming soon. Registration will be coming soon. Registration will be coming soon. Oh, yes, I'm live in Central America, brothers and sisters. I'm live in Central America, brothers and sisters. Baba Oduno Memorial in D.C. Sunday, Atlanta Podcast Monday, Camden, New Jersey Youth Explosion, Camden, New Jersey Dr. King Youth Explosion on Monday the 15th. I speak at 3:30 p.m. Williamsport. Where my Williamsport, Pennsylvania Pan-Africanist at? Where my Central Pennsylvania Pan-Africanist? I will be in Williamsport for the Dr. King Celebration Memorial Lecture in Williamsport on Tuesday, January the 16th. And then where my Sacramento Africans? I will see my Sacramento, California Africans for the first time in 10 years inside the Barack Obama room. No pun intended. The Barack Obama room. Sacramento, California, Thursday night, January the 18th. Doors open up at 4 p.m. for the Black Marketplace. Where my Antioch, California Africans at? Where my Antioch, California Africans? I will be in Antioch Friday night. I will be in Antioch Friday night. I will be in Antioch, California for the first time Friday night, January the 19th. 5 until 9, 6 until 9. Doors open up at 4, African Marketplace. If you are a vendor and you want to vend in Sacramento, if you are a vendor and you want to vend in Antioch, please text me for the flyer. If you need the flyer for New Jersey, if you need the flyer for Philadelphia, if you need the flyer for Williamsport, if you need the flyer for Baba Oduno's memorial, I'm not speaking. I'm only attending to pay respects to the great ancestor if I can make it. If you need a flyer for Sacramento or Antioch, California, 215-989-9858. This is your big brother King Kong Consciousness. We have the group trip to Africa registration coming soon. No rainbow gangers, no bunny hoppers, no haters, no saboteurs, all new attendees. Dr. Umar is taking another group back to Africa for the first time since 2019, year of return. Somebody tell Nana Nketsia, Paramount Chief of the Ahanta people, that Nana Paiana is coming back to the Cape Coast dungeon. I'm coming back to the wood factory. Tell my brothers in the Ghana wood factory. Tell my brothers in the bead factory. Tell my brothers in the Kente Cloth Museum that Dr. Umar is coming back to Ghana after 5 years for the Panafest Afrofest. Oh, yes, brothers and sisters. Oh, yes, brothers and sisters. Oh, yes, brothers and sisters. This is the son of Africa, the descendant of the enslaved Africans. I said, this is the son of Africa, the descendant of the enslaved Africans. This is the son of Africa, the descendant of the enslaved and dehumanized Africans, letting you know that my ancestors will rise again from the ashes. My ancestors will rise again from the dust. My ancestors will rise again. Those who are crushed to earth shall rise again. And through the American African, the Central American African, the South American African, the Canadian African, the Caribbean African, the descendants of the enslaved will rise again. We will help repair Africa, and we will help establish a global African government and kingdom, the likes of which the world has never seen. Not even the great dynasties of Kemet will be able to rival the future government and kingdom of the African race scattered throughout the world, brothers and sisters. Pay no attention to those who say they're not African. Pay no attention to those who say they're not African. Pay no attention to those who dismiss their blood and their ancestry and their DNA. Pay no attention to them, because when we rebuild Africa, when we rebuild the diaspora, when we rebuild the African race and give to the world a 21st century African kingdom and government, I promise you, all those self-hating, snow bunny loving Africans who didn't want to be a part of the race, they will be running back to reclaim their glory. They will be running back to reclaim their divine mantle. They will be running back to reclaim that which they voluntarily gave away. In the words of the most honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey, the greatest black leader of the 20th century and the greatest human organizer of all time, I say one God, one aim, one destiny. All Africans of the world, I say one God, one aim, one destiny. All Africans of the world, we must empower the black woman. We must empower the black woman. We must empower the black woman, not with feminism, but with African womanism, with traditional African womanism. Let us lift up our queens and lift up our daughters and lift up our nieces and aunties and cousins and queen mothers, because the black man can rise no higher than the esteem he gives to his African queen. Let's rebuild the African queendom and rebuild the African kingdom and rebuild the eldership. We got to give birth to the elders. We got to give birth to an elder council. We believe in law and order. We are not anarchists. Africans are not a people of anarchy. We are a people of law and order. This is your big brother signing out from my Spanish-speaking African kingdoms of Central America, signing out from the Republic of Panama and the port of Portobello. On behalf of my enslaved African ancestors of Central America, I bid you farewell. Peace, all peace, mighty peace, great peace. I say peace and Pan-Africanism.